Okay.
Okay. But in 17, it's talking about the beast and the woman riding the beast. And she rides, and the beast comes out of the ocean. And that's in 13, too. We talk about the first beast there. And if you go on to 17, the angel is telling John some of the things he saw in 13. He says, I'll tell you the mystery of the woman in Revelation 17:17. And he goes on and says, the ocean you saw rise up was the people, the multitudes, the tongues. So it's going to rise out of the people, this beast system. But in 13, he says this beast, and you understand Daniel and Revelation are very closely related, are the same. The beast that rise with the heads are the different dynasties, starting back with the oldest known one through the Egyptians. But the oldest one was Babylon, Mesopotamia, and its sign was the lion.
Yeah.
And in 13, he says you got the leopard, the lion, and the bear. And those represent different empires. But what was key was the beast was behind each one of these heads. In other words, in Babylon, Satan led.
Yes.
Ever since they were cast out, the next dynasty, Satan was behind it all. And this mystery woman, many people, which is probably about 99% correct, the woman, the harlot, the whore of Babylon, now is represented by the church, or the Holy Roman Church, which has always kind of been behind it. And I think whatever was the most dominant church of whatever dynasty, if it was in Babylonian times, then whatever was the major church or the widest spread church is the one that Satan was leading. He was in charge of the earth. You see what I'm saying?
He's been trying to use religion to shape people. Because one of the things you have to do is, communism proved this, that communism Karl Marx and those who brought about communistic thinking believed that if they could get rid of all religion, it'd be easier to control the people. It's the opposite. You have to give them some type of a belief system, but you don't want to give them the truth, because the truth would liberate them and set them free. So Satan had to devise a way to use false spiritual
he used religion as the ruling doctrine to confuse. Babylon was confusion.
And he could give it different names, because the Roman, you had the Babylonian Empire, you had the Ottoman Empire, you had the Persian Empire, you had the Roman Empire, you had the Greek Empire, you had all these empires. They all had some mythology or paganistic or some weird twist to Christianity. Always was working. You're exactly right.
All right. Now listen to what it goes on to say. It goes on. You got 10 kings which haven't been given powers yet. They are for the last half hour.
Right.
Well, a lot of people in other studies have related that to 3.5 years, just as a side note.
Okay.
But so there are 10 kings that haven't given their power to the beast yet. But what happens when they give their power to the beast, they destroy the woman? Then ends up
the church.
They destroy the whore of Babylon. Why? Because there's a new religion coming. Now, which one do we see rise? It was the head. It's not a new head. It's actually part of another head that had the deadly wound, if you study 13 and 17. And I saw one of the heads that had a deadly wound come back, and the world wondered after it. In 1221 BC,
okay,
Khan, the leader of the Mongol armies, ordered the invasion and destruction of Persia. The order was achieved with great ferocity and with the sword. They murdered everyone. They killed everyone that was part of what was called the Abbasid Persian Empire. And now what do we see with Islam spreading and taking over our churches and Europe's churches? We can't pray as Christians, and we can't pray in church, in schools,
right.
But we have to make room in our colleges and stuff for the Islamic prayers and build mosques worldwide. So we're seeing a beast with a deadly wound rise
again
of the Persian Empire. But what is obvious? What would be, and people will say, well, many of the empires were destroyed like that. But this one in particular is rising again.
Yes. It's radical Islam, and I think that what you're seeing, this fight, this battle, we see it. Okay, it's easy to see what's happening in Iraq and in Syria with radical Islam, with ISIS. beheading and crucifying and raping the women and killing all these people. We can see that, and everyone can say, I see that. What people don't see is the other side of radical Islam, which is the sleeper cell system that's infiltrating Europe and the Western cultures, and America for sure, and is pushing for, they get to have special rooms in the public schools, the Christians don't. They are getting, it's being taught, Islam is being taught in our public schools in core curriculum, and Christianity is not.
And who runs our White House and State Department?
Right. Oh, this is completely controlled. And this is why Trump, and forget the politics. Again, I always tell people, look, forget the politics of Trump and Clinton or Republican and Democrat. Just look at one simple thing that's going on. The President of the United States is in a heated, seething war of words with a presidential candidate, and they're fighting over radical Islam. The president is fighting and defending Islam against America.
The end has risen. So we're in Revelation 17.
Yeah, it's amazing what we see happening. It's a great
look there, the borders are wide open. It's a flood. And they're giving the undocumented. I'm not against any religion. I'm not against any people. And they say, well, you should be nice, and if you are a Christian, you would let people in and help them. I'm not against that.
Right.
But I'm not going to come into your country and say, you can't practice Islam.
No.
I would be thankful that you were helping me. And that's the Christian way. But we see an attack. And listen, it goes all the way to this attack in Orlando.
I know it is. This Orlando is the key to just unlock the door. I mean,
gun control. Nelson is all night. They stayed up all night in the Senate last night, filibustering. The Democrats did for gun control. Now, Nelson, the senior senator from Florida, was the first. He was on the scene at daylight down there, and he's going to push this gun control issue. But Paul, there were 20 dead when the news report came out, 50 dead after they went in, 50 on Pentecost Day. But the sheriff came out yesterday, and I've got a copy of the report. I'm going to put it in a video this afternoon, and I'll send it to you, and you may want to mention it. He come out, and he said that now they're investigating whether the SWAT team had a lot to do with a lot of the deaths because people were reporting they were taking incoming fire.
So in other words, there was
they had to make it a mass killing to bring gun control.
That's how they could bring gun control. I kept telling Heidi, I said, Heidi, that one man could not hold the door locked and kill 50 and wound 53, and there's no way that one man pulled that off. I kept saying to her, when the SWAT team went in, when you could see some of the footage, it's completely black. There's barely could see a couple security lights on in the corner, and you hear this unbelievable gunfire. There's no question that the SWAT team, when they come in guns blazing, that they accidentally, or however you want to say it, they killed some of those innocent people. There's no question about that.
Well, they said they couldn't know for sure where they were at. There were so many rooms. But if you look closely at the images, they blew the front door and they blew 3 holes in the sidewall, and they admitted to firing into all of those.
Yeah. So they know they had to have killed some of the people. There's no way the one guy did.
Yeah, right. And so who needs gun control, us or the SWAT team?
Well, we certainly don't need the gun control. And to sit there and to watch the President of the United States fight against our rights to defend ourselves, and he is more mad at us than he is at the radical Islamic murderers. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I can't believe this media is this blind, and they're going along with everything he says.
They're paid.
Oh, I know. They're bought and paid for. You're exactly right.
The fear in his eyes was telling, and the fear in Hillary's eyes was telling for a different reason. Hillary is going along with Obama because he's told her if she doesn't, he's going to let the FBI have her.
Yeah, she's done.
On his email.
She's done.
But Obama's fear came from the fact of the same fear we see across Europe with Merkel and Hollande from Paris, is the fear that they know the people know. And they know that we will rise, and that if we are unarmed, we have a less chance of an uprising. They are afraid because they have stolen from us, raped and murdered people for thousands of years, and we're sick of it. God said in Revelation, the angry nations grew angry, and they're aware of that. So now they realize that how bad they messed over us, and so disarm the enemy.
Right. You're exactly right.
They're
That's
afraid.
the
They're
fear.
cowards.
And they did not expect a situation to come to take. Look, Jeb Bush. It was supposed to have been Jeb Bush and Hillary. That was the two Manchurian candidates. They were supposed to run against each other. Wouldn't have mattered who won. One leans a little left, one a little right. Ultimately, everything would have went flowing through the middle. That would have got done no matter what. And this whole thing has been wrecked by whatever Trump, if God wants to use him like a King Cyrus in the Bible. A lot of people. I've talked to several ministers, and they say, look, he's being used like a King Cyrus. He's being used to blow the trumpet, to expose the wickedness, to help the Christian people, and to try to save their rights of their Constitution. He himself has a ton of issues of himself that he has to deal with personally. But at the end of the day, the Illuminati never saw this coming. This is exposure, is what you're saying, is bringing the fear in the establishment's eyes. They don't know. I mean, Mitt Romney's running around wringing his hands. Paul Ryan doesn't know which side he stands on from day to day. The establishment on both sides of the fence are scared to death they're going to lose the power that that Lucifer has been salivating for this moment to finish off America and finish off the democracy and finish off the world, really. I mean,
well, Trump could fit into the prophecy pretty good, even though he probably does have some problems, Paul.
Well, we all do.
We all do. Back with Obama.
Right.
What had happened is Bush had set up the United States. They would have voted in a dog catcher. We would have. You know what I mean?
Right. I know exactly. All
right, now, but with Trump, God uses who he will, even Nebuchadnezzar.
Right, I know.
And so if we go back into the Old Testament and some of the minor prophets, it talks about the army of the end times coming in and overrunning Israel, and God goes forth and withers the top of Mount Carmel. Well, but at the end, he destroys that army. Remember, he uses that army to wake the world up and destroy the things that have gone Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
Trump is at this point now. If he gets 4 or 8 years or 4 years, which if it happens, but there's something that just happened that may stop it. If we have time, I'll briefly mention it. But if he gets it and he builds a wall and he stops this Islamic invasion here, it has already destroyed much of the world. But I'm just saying he will use him, so we may be seeing that the anti-radical Islamic person that will stop the army that God uses, but he does destroy that army if I'm not incorrect. Am I?
Yeah, no, you are not incorrect. That is true. He does in the end. So what Trump may be done, God may use him as part of when you look at at the end of the day, the prophecies of the end times, he may be used to slow this thing down. Like you said, most of the world's already been eaten up alive with it. But slow this thing down, maybe delay another 4, 8 to 12 years, the eventuality of course, the beast. We can't change prophecy in the Bible.
Right.
What we can do is watch and see how it unfolds, and we can see something's happening. There's a confrontation going on. And as Christians, all of us, we should never give in to Paul said, give no place to the devil. Don't give him an inch. Never give in. Be vigilant. Be watchful, and be ready, for the Lord is coming, without question. Jesse, I appreciate this. This has been a stimulating hour, without question. A lot of great stuff here. You've helped us understand the current events, what's going on as far as the Earth's manifestations of the Earth in many different ways, and a great analogy here of Revelation as well that we can talk about. It's coming. It's going to be fascinating. 145 days. Let's wait and see what all happens. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens.